So yeah, I'm gonna let this ride out and see what it does. But yeah, this TGTX is starting to make a move back up, and that's not a good thing for me. Highs at 140. I mean, 1070. So yeah, that's not a good thing, man. This fucking thing's trying to make a move, and I don't want it to make a move. I want it to drop. That's 7,000. Jesus.
In spike proofs, and I'm kind of glad that I missed it, because if I had bought this, I would have been labeled the pumper. I would have been the reason, theoretically, according to my critics, why the stock goes from 1 to 140. I didn't even trade it, okay? The stock spikes all on its own, and you guys should know that. These stock spikes happen. The volume is massive. I mean, it's trading hundreds of thousands of shares per minute, and you can either take advantage or you don't. No one's forcing you to trade. No one's forcing you to learn. But these morning spikes are happening more and more, and it's just a shame if you don't see that. So I'll see you guys in the chat room. Thanks again. Awesome. Yeah, where is everybody from? Let's get the whole list. It's fun to see. One guy's in Austria, Houston, Atlanta, Ohio, Arizona, Chicago, Minnesota, Canada, Vegas. Oh, a few Vegases. Hold on. My E-Trade Pro is disconnecting. I'm at a hotel and it doesn't like my software. London, New York, Chicago, Miami, Manhattan Beach, Toronto, Slovenia, Corpus Christi, Boston, Arizona, Calgary, Austin, Boston, Delray, Holland, Netherlands, Minnesota, Boston. A lot of Boston people. That's cool. Unless maybe you're just saying it like over and over again. France, Iowa, Albuquerque. Cool. How's everybody? Mongolia. Wow. Are you serious about Mongolia?
What?
I love Mongolian food.
Yeah.
So, yeah, today was a little bit of a slow day. How did you guys do? I saw some people say they didn't trade, and that's fine. You guys don't feel like you need to trade every single day if there's nothing great. You don't have to force trades. It's not a bad thing to not trade. A lot of people think that, like, you want your money working all the time, but sometimes the best trade is no trade.
And that looks
is
like
a very tough lesson for people.
That's funny because today
to learn.
Today, this fucking thing ain't moving. So this might be a day where today is not a day to be trading. But I've already got this trade in for today from yesterday. So, and we're fucking negative. I'm not even worry about the fucking. We're down 7,000, whatever. But.
And I'm glad some of you guys were studying, and that's awesome. Don't feel pressured to trade, even if there is a great play. Focus on your studying. Always remember, medical school students do not start operating on patients in month 1 or year 1 or even year 2 of their education. So I'm not saying you have to, pay me 6 figures and give me 10 years of your time to learn this, but at the same time, just understand, a lot of these skills and industries where you can really earn a lot, and it's kind of specialized knowledge. You don't get it all in it.
All right, so let me talk about this TGTX. All right. Now, former high is 1160. I'm gonna cut losses right here at 1078. Okay, I'll be down like 10 grand, but it is what it is. I can't just. I don't know. I can cut losses here and make some money on the way up. Nah, fuck that. I'm gonna cut losses right around here. Right around this high right here. 1068. We break 1068. We're cutting our losses and we're getting in. We're gonna make some money on the way up. Roger that. Roger that. So 1068 is our fucking threshold for the day.
Hot picks.
I'm gonna go ahead and get set up.
And you guys watch Michael Good this morning. You got Mark Crook tomorrow. I mean, we've got you
ready to go.
covered with all the webinars.
Oh,
and,
wait a minute,
you know, even Mark Crook, as he'll tell you, has problems sometimes with overtrading. You know, if you look at Mark Crook's profits, I don't know what they are now, but I did a study about a year ago, and 80% of his profits come from 6% of his trades. So just think about that.
Yeah, we'll do 1060. Fuck that.
Jay Cordova made nearly 70 cents a share on DGLY. Awesome.
He just closed out a
Good
position.
job, Jay Cordova. I totally missed DGLY. I saw that
good.
was a nice spiker today. That was.
It's all good. We'll just see what it does now.
The recent supernova to dip buy. I was dip buying BGI, which had a nice morning spike, but then did nothing, absolutely nothing all day. So I was buying the wrong one, basically a scratch. TWER, which I was buying yesterday, had another spike. In hindsight, I should have rebought, you know, in the 250, 260 region, as it just touched 250, which was former support. This is what I love about penny stocks. You usually get multiple times to get it right. I know some people didn't see it spiking yesterday. It spiked 30 cents a share before I bought. And, you know, I basically piggybacked that because of Barry Honig, this professional promoter who owns 10% of the company. And I'm hoping that he has some big plans for this. But you never know. It's going to take news. It's going to take more volume. And you want to buy breakouts with volume, which happened here, and also dip buy when they hold support. And you can clearly see the top the other day was 246. The breakout yesterday was at 246. Today's low, 246. So you need to, you know, look at these key numbers. It's very important for you to understand key levels. And I thought about it. I had a choice between dip buying TWER this morning or actually buying BGI on the breakout. And because I was a little disappointed that TWER did not have a press release today, and that means that Barry Honig is not, you know, climbing his pump right now, I didn't dip buy it. But as it turned out, this one did spike 50 cents a share. So it was a nice dip buy. So congrats to those of you who did that. Let's see. Oh, someone doesn't realize that I'm live. Yeah, you have to refresh. You have to refresh the webinar page to make sure that you see me live. Chart reaction says TWER was down red on the day and down from pre-market. You said in the past never to buy those. Yeah, so you know.
The stock just jumped up 45% right here on news. Not that it fucking on news that Hewlett Packard is gonna buy it out. We'll buy flash storage drives. They haven't even bought shit yet, but the fucking stock just soared. So I'm gonna short this motherfucker. I'm gonna short big. Yeah, I'm gonna short this bad boy. Let's see what Tim's talking about. Well, he made $1,500 today. All right, so we ain't talking about much on there, but they made money. They made money today. All right, so let's go back to the chart real quick.
Hey, Uncle. I think it's not that easy. What you?
I'm gonna put 1,000 shares on 1248.
What the heck?
NMBL.
I just told him so Lee and Jenna and Aunt Cheryl, which is incorrect.
In this market, what a lot of people aren't understanding is that this market is very speculative and very aggressive. You know,
Go ahead.
I was buying BGI at
Go ahead.
$1.20 and
Do your
selling it
thing.
at $1.50 roughly the other day, and it goes to $5.
What?
So the same day.
No,
so
go ahead and
within
do what
an
you're
hour.
doing.
So you have to kind of be aggressive with spikers right now. You know, TWER, there was not any catalyst yesterday, so some people were confused. The catalyst for me was that it had already spiked. First of all, I'm not just buying random stocks, but it had already spiked. Barry Honig is involved, and this has a history of recent running. So those three indicators were enough for me to buy it. And, you know, sure enough, that worked well. Today, the price action was not good in the morning, but in this market, because we're being aggressive, look for support to hold. And you can clearly see, I mean, this is a pure perfect flat line right here at 244. The high here was 246, but the afternoon high the other day was 244. The morning high yesterday was 244. Today's low was really 245. So 244, 245, 246 are key levels. So I'm not saying, buy it right here because there was no news. It would be tough to spot the breakout to a T. But I bought it in the 260 area, so I'm not buying it that far away from the breakout. And then when you have a stock that goes all the way to the threes, it's not that bad to dip buy. Remember VMRI the other day. I dip bought it. It was spiking, it was breaking out, and I dip bought it here at 215. Ignore this drop. This is just a...
This thing has no support. 3 years. This thing's ready to rip. This thing just broke all key levels, man. This thing just broke all key levels. So this thing can just keep pumping up all the way up to where we at? $26? Jesus. We still putting the bet in. I'm not worried about that. I'm gonna hold. If it goes up any more than 10 cents, and oh, what happened there? That's what lost the chart. Goes up any more than 5 cents on me, I'm out. 12.53. Yeah, 12.53. We're out of there.
A bad data. B-Trade Pro doesn't have the best data. I'm working on it with Stocks to Trade. Unfortunately, Stocks to Trade doesn't allow me to do webinars yet. There's some bug with Stocks to Trade and the webinar software. We're working on it. But I caught the bottom here on VMRI. And even though it wasn't necessarily a great, risk-reward trade, because I'm basically buying the first red day of a pump, and I kind of wish I didn't do that because it confused a lot of people. I was actually right. It did go from 215 to 245, and I only took 10 cents a share roughly because I was so freaked out about it. But there are no exact rules. You have to kind of adapt to the market. So right now we are in aggressive market. You'll see me buying more. You'll see me not necessarily taking bigger positions because even though I'm more aggressive with my buys, I'm still understanding that these are very speculative trades. So you see me buying like 2,000 shares of a $2 stock. But if I am right, I'm going to make, like $1,000. So that's kind of the cool thing about this market right now. And I know a lot of you guys are just beginning, so don't feel bad if you don't know what's going on. It comes to you over time. There's a reason why I have nearly 4,000 video lessons. There's a reason why we do so many weekly webinars and stuff like that. Let me take some questions. This is a Q&A webinar, guys, so throw out your questions and I will answer them all. You have me roughly for the next 90 minutes.
Now it's this one.
Let's see. So that was my answer on TWER. Even though it was red on the day, even though it was a failed morning spike, it did hold support at 245. So I'm not saying buy it at 270 or 280, but if you can buy it at like 250, you know, that's not bad. I saw Michael Good was actually shorting, and he covered at 251. So he saw the support at 245 also. So he had a good cover on the short. I think he made like 200 or 300. Talk about REN.
Hey, Angel.
So REN is one of these plays that I don't
Be careful,
get
Angel.
because it's an energy play.
Brody, be careful,
You know,
Angel.
I specifically say in DVDs, do not trade energy plays because they can just keep spiking like this. They can keep going supernova, huge volume. It's not a pump and dump. No different than SGY, which is another energy company. And this has gone from 3 to 22. So for me, it's very important that you guys do pay attention to some rules. As I said, it's not an exact science, but there are reasons why I have rules. It's not an exact science, but it's not also totally random. So when I say I don't like energy plays, you haven't seen me play SGY. You haven't seen me play REN. You guys are looking at this chart, shorting it, and you're thinking that it's just going to roll over.
You're down.
It's not a pump and dump. If this chart was a pump and dump and not an energy play, and let's say it was just promoted for, you know, a few days by newsletters, when it starts to go red, when the volume starts to fade, when too much time has elapsed, then yes, it could roll over. But when it's energy, and as you saw from SGY, from the 3s to the 22s in a month or two, you know, all bets are out the window. So a lot of you guys are kind of throwing out all the rules. When I say it's not an exact science, you're like, well, let me just do this anyways. There are some really good guidelines. You know, non-energy plays. Don't use market orders. Don't go short on a Friday afternoon. They don't work all the time. None of my rules work all the time, but it'll be in your best interest to pay attention. I don't just say I avoid energy plays.
Yo,
because I like talking.
that's it.
This is something that I've learned over, you know, the past 2 decades. AVXL. So this is another one. Lots of short sellers love this one. They think that it's gonna, you know, just die. And you've got a little bit of a drop, you know, from 8 to 7 over 3 days. It's so choppy though. And what is another rule that I like to say? I don't like choppy stocks. So, well, yes, you could make 20 cents a share, maybe 40 cents a share. Too choppy for me. So I ignore it. This is what you guys have to learn about the stock market. You can tailor your experience to you. If you find a pattern that freaks you out or hurts your head or makes you uncomfortable or makes you sweaty, it's okay. You don't have to do it. You know, you really do not have to be a master of all patterns. Tim Grittani and I just celebrated his $3 million milestone. We gave a webinar, and one of his key points last week was that he only specializes in a few patterns. And it's perfectly acceptable. And in fact, not just acceptable, it's great to ignore plays when they are not your patterns. So do study all the patterns. You don't know which patterns you're going to like or not like. But at the same time, understand that you don't have to like buy a stock and then short it and take part in every part of the move. Try and figure out what suits your personality best. And frankly, this is why I have the most millionaire students, but this is also the gift and curse of trading. No 2 of us are alike. Just because I see a pattern and I see something that, you know, really suits my preferences does not mean that you will. And it doesn't mean that you're going to love it. So you have to be very, very careful.
No, Roderick, no.
You know, that's all I can really say. Oh, let me turn down this. I hope I don't have an echo on this. I hope I don't have an echo. Was there an echo this whole time?
Thank
Good. No echo. Okay. I've done that a few times where I'm just talking for like 30 minutes and you can't understand a word that I'm saying because I forgot to turn off the sound. Let's see. More questions. I like them. Can you check EXAS? Why is the stock going down? They also have news. A lot of people hate on penny stocks and they say, why is the stock going down? They have good news. Don't try and judge the news. Focus on price action. Maybe because the stock is up so much, the news has already been priced in. I'm trying to think of a ticker. This was a few weeks ago. It was the same time, like the day before WATT, W-A-T-T got FDA approval. And I bought it because I thought it would spike right here. And it turned out to be the top. I cut losses quickly. Or maybe it was here. Yeah, it was here. It was back in May. And WATT was a breakout above this level. And they had FDA approval, and the stock did nothing. And everyone was like, they just got FDA, or it was FCC approval, my bad, for their wireless charging transmitter. And everyone was like, why is this not breaking out? And some people were adding to the position, and they're like, no, the stock is wrong, the market is wrong, this news is huge. Well, eventually it did break out, but for nearly a month, if you're buying it in the 11s, you're selling it in the 9s for a 20% loss. So don't try and judge. And there was a pharmaceutical company around there too. Was it ORMP? Oh my God, it was. Ha! ORMP got FDA approval here, and it just could not hold its gains. Maybe it was here. It was one of these in May. And everyone was like, why is this not going up? Because it was already priced in. You don't know what's priced in ahead of time. That's what makes the stock market so tricky. If you know that there was a list that the stock market would provide you every morning, this stock already has all the good news priced in. It is, even if they announce good news, it's going to go straight down. The stock market doesn't provide you that list. Nobody provides you that list. There is no list. It's just a lesson that you have to learn. And you have to recognize that price action is paramount. Price action is king. So if the news is good and the stock is dropping, the price action is right. This would save pretty much every single penny stock investor from ruin if they understood this one rule. But the vast majority of people hate on penny stocks because the news is good, especially when promoters are promoting it, and the stock sometimes drops 30, 40, 50% in a day. And they're like, penny stocks are random, penny stocks are manipulated. This makes no sense. It makes perfect sense if you know the rules of the game. If the news is good in a penny stock, and these are, $8, $9, $10 stocks, so they're not true penny stocks. And so they drop a little. But I've seen penny stocks drop 90% in a day on good news as the insiders sell. You have to remember the vast majority of stocks trading at $1, $2, $3 a share are outright scams or shells, or the insiders know there is no way that they're going to succeed. So when they announce good news,
I'm gonna buy back in TGTX. I should have never got out. You saw the mistake I made earlier, so we're gonna buy back in as soon as it starts to get close to the highs or break the highs.
is to lure in buyers. Anybody who can sell will be selling. Sometimes you have a penny stock with good news and it spikes. There are real penny stocks out there. SYMC, for example, when it spiked from $1.40 up to $3, when they became the main website software provider for AT&T, and this is a $100 million a year contract, which they basically won. They beat out against Yahoo. So this little piece of shit penny stock company won a huge $100 million a year contract. And guess what? The stock spiked, and it's held most of its gains. In fact, today it had a nice little bottoming.
Just got out to the highs. So yeah, we're definitely gonna buy back in as soon as I start to see it start to fade back down. Remember the high is here, 1165. See if we can get it to 11. If it gets up to 11, that's great. It's pushing. Saw his hair 1070. It's definitely fucking pushing. Buyers are buying at 1060. So it's making a move.
Action. So certain good news is confirmed by price action, and you can kind of guess this when you have a massive contract with a massive multi-billion-dollar company like AT&T, and you beat out Yahoo. I mean, that's definitely good news. But these kinds of contracts and this kind of news is very few and far between for penny stocks. Most penny stocks have quote good news, and then in reality, there's something going on in the background where it's not really that good. So that was a long answer to your question. But it's important that you guys understand that, especially you beginners.
Oh,
who don't realize how
shit.
corrupt and manipulated these penny stock companies are. So Jocelyn says, how do you tailor your trades when you're traveling?
Oh, shit. This bitch has got bad news. 19 minutes ago. Oh, yeah. We're going to short the shit out of this motherfucker. Oh, yeah. All right, so 1070. 1070. Quantity. We're going to do, see if we can get 10,000. We'll see if we can get 10,000 in. We'll do 5,000 first. 5,000. No, let's do 10,000. Fuck that. That bitch got bad news. Where we at? 1070. We'll do 1069. No, we'll do 1075.
The internet connection is not the best. Welcome to my life, Jocelyn. I've traded probably, I've been to 107 countries now. I've traded probably from maybe 80 of them, maybe 85 of them. I would say, 80 to 85% of the countries that I've been to, I've traded from. Sometimes the Wi-Fi is just so bad. Sometimes there's been no plays while I've been traveling. But the vast majority of times, I'm trading. One famous time in my mind, I was in Portugal and I was on a train and I had Wi-Fi at the top of the hill, and then when the train went to the bottom of the hill, I had no Wi-Fi. And it was very hilly territory. So I was stupidly in a trade, and I would have, quotes working when we're at the top of the hill for a few minutes, and then no quotes. So it was like a blind trade. I've done blind airplane trades where I bought a stock or shorted a stock, and I go on an airplane when the stock market is open and I have no Wi-Fi. This was a younger version of me. Now I've become more conservative. The trade that pushed me over $1 million. I was on a cruise ship on semester at sea off the coast of Asia, and I was actually trading the ticker Asia, ASIA. So I thought that that was, you know, a good sign.
So we got our average price in at, what is it? 1065.
And the internet went out, and I had $1 million bet roughly on the stock, and I was freaking out, and there was nothing you could do because we're on a freaking cruise ship off the coast of Japan, I believe. And when the Wi-Fi came back, I made, I think, roughly around 80 grand, and that pushed me over $1 million. That was stupid. So, how do you tailor your trading? I would try to trade, but at the same time, I would really be focused on only the best patterns, like buying an earnings winner, buying a big contract winner like SYNC, shorting a pump and dump if you can find shares of like VMRI or GDE. I would not trade speculative plays like TWER or BGI. I would lock down on really reliable patterns. EXAS, I was waiting for the first red day. What do I think for tomorrow? So EXAS, I mean, has been in this multi-month, just gradual run-up. I have no idea what it's going to do. You know, there's no real first red day. I mean, yeah, it's a first red day. Maybe it goes down. I don't know what to do with this. So this is an example of a pattern that I would just simply avoid. Quentin says, Tim, when did you start going larger on your share per trade? I found consistency but feared going big to grow my account. I mean, I've gone up and down every single year since my beginning. In good markets, I get more aggressive. In bad markets, I tighten my belt. This year, I started with just $12,000, so obviously that's going to affect my trading positions compared to my normal account size of $500,000. there's no rhyme or reason. You know, I don't go back to $12,000 because I lost all my money, and I didn't go back to $12,000 when I first started teaching because I lost all my money. Even though a lot of people thought that I did, because in finance, you know, theoretically, you have to manage more and more and more money to look more and more and more successful. And for me, as a teacher, I found that I'm a more successful teacher if I trade with a small account. So it's counter to what most people think. But for you, you just have to do what's comfortable. You know, don't feel bad if you're paper trading. Don't feel bad if you're not even trading at all. Don't feel bad if you trade 100 shares. Don't feel bad if you're trading 1,000 shares. Gradually increase your, or maybe not even gradually. Maybe it all clicks in one day. But over time, increase your position sizes as you get more comfortable. And only you can define what is comfortable. You know, you should never be scared to make a trade. And if you go on a losing streak, as I just did a few days ago, you start trading smaller. You start going back and reviewing DVDs. You're never too rich or too experienced to go back to learning about the basics. TJ the Trader, do you see any plays that you might have missed that could have been worth longing overnight? No, the play that I wanted overnight was the first red day on this pump GDEE. Because I think that this is just absolutely going to collapse in the coming days. And I could not find any shares to short, and that stinks. But as I say,
all right, so this fucking thing, TGTX, this fucking thing's going to crash. It just got bad news. Got a fucking lawsuit. Has filed. It says Levy and Course LLP reminds investors it has filed a class lawsuit against TG, and the announcement announces a lead plaintiff deadline of March 7th. So all persons of entities who purchase otherwise are hereby notified that a security class action lawsuit has been commenced in the this representing material information concerning a Genius Phase 3 clinical trial of proprietary combinations of drug therapies. The Phase 3. Hey, be quiet. What happened?
I don't know where the volume is.
I don't know what volume, bro. So that's not good. This is a fucking lawsuit. That's not good. So this fucker is gonna come crashing down soon. And I'm fucking 10,000 shares deep in this motherfucker.
music videos, no borrow, no cry. I did not see any good wrongs, so I did not take any. Tim, in reference to looking at the charts, do you have an order that you look at for a company? First, you look at 1 minute daily, then the 30-minute daily, then the 100-minute daily, or the 100 daily. Yeah, I mean, I look at all different time frames. There's no specific order. I'm just looking for a key level. You know, like when I was looking at a key level of significance. So TWER, I mean, yesterday when I saw it spiking, it was already at 270, 275 when I saw it. And I looked at, you know, the multi-day chart, and I saw that the breakout was 246, and then the morning high was 245. So I knew that 245-ish was a key level. And I only had to look back 3 days. If I look back longer, the charts are all screwed up because I did a reverse split, actually. Even 5 days are screwed up. So charts don't really help you with this one. But I knew that this was a key level. MGT. I was dip buying this in the mid-twos, right in here. And I got a lot of hate people saying that I was pumping it and that this stock was bound to go back to the ones, and I was like, well, maybe, but until it cracks this low of 225 ish, it's not going back to the ones. It can't skip over and go from 240 down to 150. On the way, it has to crack this support, and it never did. So I wasn't there, for the $2 a share rebound, but I was right. And all of those people who said that this could not go up anymore were dead wrong. And on this one, you had to simply just look at the daily chart and see the support at 225. In fact, actually, on this day, on what is this, May 27th, it actually cracked 225, 230-ish. And guess what? They came out with a press release right then to like swoop in and save the day. So for me, even though this is a promoted stock, I don't mind, buying it or dip buying it and thinking that it could rebound. Even if, this whole little group of short sellers who think that no stock should ever go up, I don't care what they think, okay? I look at charts. So look at multiple time frames. Tilly says, how are your friends from Wall Street Warriors? Are they still on Wall Street? I have no idea, Tilly. One of them is out in jail, and they were never really my friends. I just met them for the show. One of them was dating George Soros, Sandra. Even when he had a wife, that was kind of weird. Gita Shammai, who claimed that he had turned $2 million into $100 million. Total liar. He was arrested, I believe, in North Carolina, and he was just spending all of his hedge funds money like an idiot, and he's in jail. So don't trust what you see on TV. Let's see. Tim, when you are trading, what are you viewing? The level 2 chart, or the level 2 or the chart? If the chart, at what time do you watch? 1 minute or 2 minutes? Yeah, so this is my basic setup on Stocks to Trade or eTrade Pro. I have my chart, I have my level 2, and I have my watch list. And I look at all three in conjunction. And level 2, I'm looking at for every single trade. So I highly, highly encourage you to watch my Learn Level 2 DVD if you have not seen it. You need it. It's 6 hours of understanding and explaining what.
That was my threshold right there. Got out of NMBL. It fucking broke what? 52, 51. I'm out, man. I'm not even fucking with that. What's the news on this? Same bullshit news. We already got that. So yeah, we got the fuck up out of that. Because that bitch can just keep running, as you can see. I think it just keep running. Let's go to the 6 months. It's got no no resistance, man. This thing can just keep running. And we're not holding that bullshit. I think it just keep running. $19. We're at 12. So let's go ahead and put a position buy. $12.51. You're welcome, buddy.
Level 2 is all about. Steve Tio, oh, someone says, Freddie says, how do you execute orders so quickly? Freddie, I'm always ready to trade. Like on BGI today, I bought it, but I knew I was a little chasing. I think I even said it in the alert. When it double topped here, I mean, it went up to like 298. I wanted to break into the threes here on the second attempt, and it couldn't do it. It stopped out at 293-ish. So I got out in the 280s because it just, this was a double top. So I was looking for it to do something. When it didn't do it, I'm out. When I dip bought it here in the 250s, I was looking for it to bounce past 270. And when it could not, I was out. And TWER, I mean, yesterday, I wanted to actually hold it overnight. But the reason why I didn't, it already hit all my goals. So that's why I got out. So if a stock is not doing exactly what I want, I get out. If a stock hits my goals, I get out. Let's say TWER had spiked from, I was in the 260s, let's say it was hanging around the 280s into the close. I might have sold half, or I would have maybe even held the entire position because it would not have reached my entire goals. And theoretically, if it was closing in the 280s, it would be closing strong. So I would want to hold it. You have to react to price action. One guy even has a screen name of that. Whose screen name was that? Chart reaction. I like it. Steve says, what key indicators inform when a morning spike or any spike is going to fail? You never really know. It helps when it's a former runner like that. And TWER, I mean, this ran 50% a few days ago. BGI was probably my, best buy alert ever in the ones before it hit, the fives just a few hours later. So I like buying former runners because they have a chance to respike. And again, there's this whole group of short sellers out there who like to short into any spike. And that's nice. It works the vast majority of the time, but all it takes is one spike to go truly supernova, and you see people blow up. Tim Grittani had a giant loss on PBMD last year. I know entire other chat rooms got devastated by PBMD, and I refused to short that in the mid twos because frankly I was just scared, and I thought that it could squeeze more, and it went all the way to 6 in the same day. And I know many quote astute short sellers who lost 30, 40, 50, 75, 100% of their accounts that day. No different than AQXP or more recently KBIO. Michael Good and I were both short on KBIO the afternoon of its huge spike. Right here.
My resistance level is right here at these highs at 1160. Alright, so I'm in at 1065. That's my threshold.
This day, when you can't really see it, but it went from basically 2 to 10 in about an hour after hours. And this is often used as an example of why you should never short sell penny stocks. But somehow Michael Good and I were each short. I mean, sizable positions. I think I was short like 10,000 shares. And I lost a few $1,000 because we cut losses quickly. So I never, and I know again, in other chat rooms, people who do not follow my rules or do not believe in my kind of, you could say that they're cowardly rules. People who do not believe in trading cowardly, they got destroyed on KBIO, and they lost $300,000, $500,000, $1 million. So I never know when the top is, but I am always respectful that any of these stocks can go truly supernova. All it takes is one bad trade or two bad trades to wipe you out. Your account, your confidence, your buying power. I don't want that. So I'm constantly guarding against that. And, in this market, again, we've seen so many supernovas. I had no idea that BGI was going to hit 5 when I was buying it at $1.20 the other day. But did it surprise me? No. We've seen a whole bunch of supernovas in the past few months. Stocks up 200, 500, 1,000% in a day.
What are you doing?
So,
Working.
on these low flow plays with huge
What are you
volume,
doing?
Working.
expect the unexpected. And that way, you're never disappointed. Let's see, more questions. Is stock, and when it's going to fail, I have no idea. So many people think that they know when the top is. I know people who were shorting DGI in the 2s and the 3s, and they got absolutely destroyed. So when there's a huge spike like that, I have no idea. And that's why you see me gravitating more lately toward buying
Get one of your
morning
brother, too.
spikes than trying to short morning spikes. Because it's a very dangerous game. Some people do it well. Tim Grittani does it well, but understand he's trading with a massive account. He can average in over several minutes, several hours, or even several days. Most of you guys have a few $1,000s. So you cannot average in, and you cannot risk being down 50% on any one position, or 20% for that matter. Is stock promoter still a viable source for spotting pump and dumps? I don't use it. I really think that the success of my educational business has created the single best resource for penny stock traders, and that is the chat room. We have over 1,000 traders in the chat room every day. Everybody's talking about stocks in play. You really don't need to subscribe to promoters like you used to. Many of the promoters have sold their email list to other promoters. So it's not like, oh, this promoter is so amazing. It's gotten easier for you guys if you're a student. At this point in the pump, are you long or short bias on VMRI? Definitely short bias. You know, this is a classic number 6 for my penny stocking framework DVD. I know the DVD is a few years old, but the pattern works to a T. And when I was shorting it the other day, what did I short at? Like 210? You know, I didn't catch the exact top, and I'm glad I cut losses quickly before it spiked 30 cents.